Breaking news. South Korea's weapons take center stage. South Korea breaks records with $17 billion in arms sales in 2025. That headline flashed across international news channels, sending ripples through the corridors of power in Washington, Warsaw, and Riyadh. Defense analysts scrambled to update their forecasts. For decades, the world's arms market had been ruled by giants like the US, Russia, and a handful of European powers. Suddenly, South Korea was not just in the conversation, it was at the center of it. Governments from Europe to the Middle East were lining up to sign contracts for Korean tanks, fighter jets, and artillery. For many, this wasn't just about buying weapons. It was about buying reliability, innovation, and a new kind of partnership. South Korea was once a customer, now it was a supplier to the world. The numbers were honestly staggering. In 2022 alone, South Korean arms exports jumped by over 140%. By 2025, Korean-made weapons were appearing in military parades from Warsaw to Abu Dhabi. The world wanted to know, why now? Why South Korea? The answer, it turns out, is a story of ambition, technology, tough competition, and a changing world order. South Korea's journey began in a very different place. Back in the 1970s and 80s, South Korea was focused on defending itself from its unpredictable northern neighbor. The country poured resources into building a strong, self-reliant military industry. At first, this meant copying foreign designs. Over time, it meant creating their own, better, faster, and cheaper. By the early 2000s, Korean companies like Hyundai Rotem and Hyunmoo Defense were producing world-class tanks, self-propelled artillery, and even fighter jets. South Korea's defense industry became a well-oiled machine, honed by years of strict military discipline and a culture of relentless improvement. The goal was clear: never be caught unprepared. With proven success at home, South Korea turned to the world stage. The Korean government made a strategic decision to become a top arms exporter. New policies encouraged innovation and international partnerships. Trade missions followed. The defense industry, once insular, went global. Today, South Korea's rise is no accident. It is the result of decades of planning, hard work, and the belief that the country could compete with anyone, anywhere. Why are so many countries buying South Korean weapons? 3 words: price, quality, and speed. In a world where military budgets are tight and threats are changing fast, these are not just advantages, they're necessities. First, price. South Korean weapons are often significantly cheaper than American or European alternatives. This isn't just about cutting corners. Korean companies have really mastered efficient production and lean supply chains. Governments can get more firepower for their money. Second, quality. Gone are the days of good enough. South Korean tanks and howitzers now rank among the world's best. They're tough, reliable, and packed with modern technology. Many buyers report fewer breakdowns and less need for costly maintenance. Third, speed. South Korean companies can deliver quickly, sometimes in half the time of their rivals. In an age of growing uncertainty, that matters. When Poland wanted tanks fast, it turned to Seoul, not Washington or Berlin. This triple advantage is now the talk of defense ministries around the globe. It's why South Korean weapons are not just filling gaps, they're changing the game. The most dramatic proof of South Korea's new status came in 2022, when Poland signed a record-breaking deal to buy hundreds of Korean tanks, howitzers, and fighter jets. The deal was worth nearly $15 billion, one of the largest in Polish history. The reason? Urgency. With war raging in neighboring Ukraine, Poland needed to modernize its army. Fast. European suppliers couldn't keep up. American options were expensive and slow to arrive. South Korea stepped in. Within months, the first K2 Black Panther tanks and K9 Thunder howitzers were rolling into Polish training grounds. The deal was more than just a sale, it was a partnership. Korean companies agreed to set up joint production lines in Poland. Polish workers learned to build and repair the new weapons. The deal also included technology transfers, helping Poland grow its own defense industry. For Warsaw, this wasn't just about hardware. It was about security, sovereignty, and the ability to respond to threats in real time. For South Korea, it was validation. Their weapons were now trusted on the front lines of Europe. So, let's take a closer look at South Korea's best-selling weapons, and honestly, the reasons for their success become pretty clear. First up, the K2 Black Panther tank. It's fast, agile, and packed with smart technology, like, we're talking an advanced fire control system, active protection to stop incoming missiles, and a powerful engine that lets it really sprint across the battlefield. Now, moving on, there's the K9 Thunder self-propelled howitzer. This thing can fire shells over 40 kilometers and reload super quickly. That gives armies a major advantage in modern warfare, where, mobility and rapid response are everything. The K9 is already in use by 7 countries, and that number keeps growing. South Korea's FA-50 light fighter jet is another real standout. It's built for both training and combat, and the best part, it's cheaper than an F-16 but almost just as capable. Several countries across Asia and the Middle East have already placed orders, impressed by its flexibility and price. Advanced electronics, sturdy armor, smart targeting systems, these are now trademarks of Korean military technology. So, what's the secret? Years of investment in research, and a culture that really rewards innovation. The world's leading arms suppliers, America, Russia, and several European states, have long dominated the global market. But South Korea is changing the rules. Buyers used to look to the US and Russia for the best and most reliable weapons. Today, many are rethinking that habit. American weapons are still the gold standard, but they come with a high price tag and long lead times. Political restrictions can make deals complicated or slow. Russian weapons are cheaper, but recent wars and sanctions have hurt confidence and supply chains. South Korea offers a middle ground. Its weapons are almost as sophisticated as American ones, but cost less and arrive faster. Unlike Russia, South Korea is part of global supply chains and is seen as a dependable partner. There are no strings attached, no political pressure, no hidden costs. This new balance is reshaping the arms market. Countries that once had few choices now have a fresh, credible alternative. Geopolitical uncertainty is pushing countries to rethink where they get their military hardware. War in Ukraine has exposed the risks of relying on slow or unreliable suppliers. The rise of China and fears about regional conflicts in Asia and the Middle East are making countries nervous. They want partners who can deliver, fast. South Korea's own position is unique. It's a US ally, but fiercely independent. It has strong ties to Europe, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. Korean weapons come with few political strings, making them attractive to countries wary of getting caught in great power games. Governments also see South Korea as a model. The country transformed itself from a war-torn nation to a high-tech powerhouse in just a few decades. That story inspires trust and respect and opens doors. This mix of reliability, neutrality, and technological strength is making South Korea the partner of choice in a dangerous world. The cavernous halls of Seoul's Defense and Security Expo pulse with energy. Delegates from Africa, Europe, and the Middle East crowd around life-sized models of tanks and drones. Engineers in crisp suits explain the features of the K2 tank, while generals from 3 continents nod in approval. At one booth, a South Korean official signs a new deal with a Southeast Asian nation. Flashbulbs pop. The mood is electric. This is not just business, but diplomacy. Nearby, a team from Hyunmoo Defense demonstrates a VR simulation of the K9 howitzer in action. Even seasoned soldiers are impressed. On the expo floor, competition is fierce. American and European firms show off their wares, but the crowds around the Korean booths are the biggest. The reasons are clear. Innovation, transparency, and the promise of delivery on time. For many, this is the future, a marketplace where South Korea is not just an option, but the main attraction. The world is changing fast, and South Korea's rise may just be beginning. Analysts predict that by 2030 the country could be one of the top 3 arms exporters globally. New markets are opening in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Korean firms are investing in next-generation weapons, autonomous drones, AI-powered targeting, and hybrid vehicles. But there are challenges ahead. Competition will grow, and global tensions could complicate deals. South Korea will need to keep innovating, keep prices low, and protect its reputation for speed and reliability. Still, the momentum is undeniable. Countries want more than just weapons. They want partnership, technology, and trust. South Korea is offering all 3, in a package tailored for a turbulent age. For now, the world is buying Korean, and the story is far from over.